feel like to be reprising your role as Eliza Schuyler here in your home country?
Well, first of all, hello, good afternoon po, mga kababayan. It's so nice to be home. Well, this is a dream come true for me. And I was actually telling some of my friends that back in 2017 when I did this role in the West End, I had a feeling that Hamilton will be coming to the Philippines. For some reason, I just had that vision. And I told myself, I'm gonna do this role in the Philippines. And here I am doing it in front of our, kababayans. And yeah, this is such a dream come true. And also to be home and to be with my family. So, isang pangarap ko ito. So yeah, thank you, Pilar.
Just one more question. This one is for Mr. Arrow. So,
Hi.
hi. So you're playing Hamilton, right? The lead role of this play. It's a really big performance. And what aspects of your performance here make it different from other performances that you've had? Like here, since it's in a country, first show in Asia. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about the show is that, and I think everyone can attest to this, depends on who's on stage with you, kind of changes how the show shifts. So this is like a majority new company that I've worked with. Obviously, I've worked with the keynote before, but everyone else who's seen on the stage, first time for me. So it definitely changes how you interpret the show. It changes how your character evolves throughout the show. So for me, it's a lot, not necessarily where the show is, of course that plays into it as well, but the people you're doing it with. So my Hamilton Eliza relationship is very different to what has been in the past with Rachel. And it's been fun. It's been great for the two shows we've done so far.
We're still getting to know each other. So.
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, hi, I'm Natalie from Philippine Star. Hi, Rachel. Welcome back. So, well, my question is for everyone. May I know how we find the Philippines so far, especially our first time, or is it your first time here in the Philippines?
Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hi. So far, it's been really beautiful. We've only been in our accommodation in the theatre, mostly, and we're so excited to explore the islands because we've heard so much. But what I can say so far is the people are incredible. Really want to make sure you're accommodated to any way, shape or form. And there's such a sense of humble gratitude and an honour to be able to be of service. And it's a really cool reminder for us, I guess, for our work to be of service to the people that have already made us feel welcome in our accommodation and this theatre and of course outside of both of those things. So it's been really beautiful.
And just to add to that, so I am just inspired by the resiliency found here in the Philippines. And so this show is just about that, it's about resiliency. And so I'm really struck by the history and that we were able to share this history that's not just unique to the United States, but that is unique, I think, also here in the Philippines. And so there's such a warmth and a hospitality, but also a connection that I have really thoroughly shared and enjoyed thus far. And looking forward to many more weeks as we get out of rehearsals and begin our performance schedule.
Maybe also hear from Jason and Young.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's exactly the same. I've been struck by how welcoming everyone is, and super polite, super lovely. Like, I've never been called so many times. It's a constant like, it feels for me it's a new thing for me. But there's not much more I can say out there, and it's been incredibly welcoming. I look forward to getting out into the street and seeing more of what Manila and Philippines has to offer.
Yes, I mean, don't have much to add to that, but yeah, I come from a big family, and I always really vibe with the Asian culture because we're very family and community driven. It's always about the whole and not the individual, and I think that's what we're learning in the show. because we are asked to speak to each other, not just to Hamilton, and it's more about redemption of the soul and the spirit. And I find being a minority here is really, really fun because where I'm from is very black and white. And so to be seen in such a light and a glory, and like you sort of look at us like we're superstars already. And we're in our heads like, are we though? You know, like you haven't even seen us on stage, and it's not even about the stage anymore. It's really about reaching the hearts and reaching the minds of everyone here. So I went to Tagatag, Cavite, and it was so cool up there, like literally like temperature-wise. So I was saying, I wish Hamilton could buy a helicopter and we could just live there and come and perform here. But I'm looking forward. My mom's here, my girlfriend just got here, so I'm looking forward to showing them around. And you've been lovely so far. And I know that will continue to be the story.
Thank you.
So my question is for you guys. I mean, anyone can answer. How important do you think it is to bring diverse and inclusive shows like Hamilton to international audiences?
I would love to grab this one. The thing about diverse shows and what Hamilton is continuing to do is now the talent and the skill that is beyond what we're used to seeing is now being showcased. And I feel like being in a diverse company means people understand that they now can share what they thought was just for themselves in home and that they'll never be able to share. That they now are valid in the society of how their gifts came about and what they want to share, what we want to share, and that we see more of ourselves everywhere, and that our talent and skills are the first and foremost.
And you know, Akina, just to add to that, I remember our first preview performance here, and I was really moved because I looked across the stage and I had this thought: this must be heaven on earth as it is in heaven. And just to see everyone representing their family, unique culture, background, and we are here, you know, to share and to surround ourselves around this common goal and this common story. And so I think there is also the beauty of that. It's not just allegorical. I think it's quite literal that we're able to share this story with Filipino audiences and really this overarching idea that on earth as it is in heaven. So that has also been something that's crossed my mind. I've been a bit weepy backstage at times. Just because it's so overwhelming, it's such a beautiful thing. And so I just want to add to that as well.
A truly international company. Oh, yeah, truly international. Like we're from everywhere, every corner of the earth. Yeah, it's beautiful to see.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hi, I'm Doreen from Mega Entertainment. This question is for everyone. You're touring around the world and you're currently doing back-to-back shows. I just want to ask how you find the time to relax and recharge as performers.
We'll let you know when we find it. Right now, as is always with Tech Week, so Technical Week, it's for the tech crew, for the backstage crew to learn what they have to do, because at that point, all of us have done the show before, so we definitely know the show at this point. So Tech Week is not really for us, it's for the crew. And it's very intense, 12-hour days, 13-hour days, just to get up and running. We're doing rehearsals and notes during the day. So yeah, it's when we find the time. Yeah.
And for my second question, anyone can answer as well. This is from our editor. What line from the play resonated with you the most? It can be from your own character or from the other characters.
My mind, while these guys think.
Thank you.
The world was wide enough for both Hamilton and me. Yes. That one, for me, sums it all up. We see flawed humans, striving for success and thinking that success is only for a few. But that mountaintop, once we get that helicopter, is big enough for all of us, And going back to what I was saying with diversity, we all have something to say. We all have something to share. Some of us are still working out what that is, but the world is wide enough for all of us. That's my favorite line.
For me, it would be legacy. What is a legacy? It's planting seeds that God never gets to see. That's one thing. I think. I don't know. I don't know who says that. It mainly because it's something I keep thinking about, especially legacy. What is a legacy? I mean, what is it? Like what is the definition of that? And I think the preceding line, the line that follows, is a good attempt at an answer of what it actually is. Planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. It's about what you do for the future and what you leave behind when you leave the world. And you can get lost in that for a while, and I have got lost in that for a while. And I'm probably going to get lost in that for a while after I've just answered that. So, yeah, it's that was very profound.
How about for Rachel?
Well, I think for me, the forgiveness part is such a big thing, and I want to preach that to everyone and also to myself. But yeah, every time we hit that scene, it gets me. Yeah, that's for me.
You agree?
I kind of share that with Rachel too. It hits me. I'm not even in the number finally. I got to play Hamilton. I was lucky enough to play Hamilton, but Quiet on Time is so heavy. I'm so happy to just watch it now. But yeah, it reminds me of this idea of that we all have something that we've done. We've all made mistakes. That's why I love playing these characters, because they're flawed and they're not perfect. And I think a lot of the times we try to cast judgment on people who are trying to do good things for the world, but sometimes that is messy. And I'm always struck by this idea that if you're going to just sit there and not get up here and do something about it, don't judge the people who are actually being active about it. And another line is, love doesn't discriminate. I think it just covers everything. We actually had this training a few days ago about discrimination. I typed that in the comments. And people were laughing, but I was serious because I think love covers everything. I just visited Intramuros in the St. Augustine Chapel. It's all about love. Every sign is love, 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 love. It's hearts. And I'm like, it just makes sense. It's the simplest thing to do. So I think in all of the complexity of what it is to be a human being, if you just stick to love, then you're going to be all right.
And for me, I would say it's history has its eyes on you. And I love that line because it reminds us that we are all active participants in history. And I think also there is a beauty, there's an irony in me being a Black American, a descendant of enslaved African Americans, playing George Washington, who enslaved African Americans. So this line, history has its eyes on you, has always hit very deep and very hard for me, because I like to think of my ancestors who are now part of the mighty cloud of witnesses are now watching and witnessing their offspring, if you will, playing such an active part in history, telling this story. And the show that is making history continues to make history. We're making history here in Asia by premiering here in Manila. And so that is, I would say, probably one of my favorite lines. And there are moments where it's really hard to get those words out because I'm just so moved by it. And so that's mine.
Thank you very much.
And do your roles justice.
Mine's quick. Honestly, it's just resetting whenever I get off stage, basically, because I'm going to do some heavy scenes in the show. The second I get off stage, I literally just stop thinking about it. I don't know, a lot of people have spoken about not being able to do that, but that is something that I can do, and I just make sure that I do, so I don't carry it on with me, because it can be quite full on, I think.
I think too, as time goes on with the show, you understand how much you can give, and then taking responsibility for how much that is for the day. The company provides resources for us to reach out to as well, which is really beautiful. And we have each other, and we also know as professionals that part of the job is leaving it all on stage and then going home.
And it's so important, the family and the community, family and friends really help me reset. But also, I do want to give a shout out to Michael Council Group, because I've worked with many producers, and I have to say that they do it right in providing a very supportive environment to where all we have to do is just focus on the work, and then we can leave it. And so that's also really a tremendous blessing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just being honest with yourself each day, because I think a lot of times we're kind of pressured to be on. We'll always have to be on, right? Because, but I read this article a few days ago that said it's not about you. You know, it's like we get this idea that it's all about me. I have to, and it's like no, it's like it's going to get done, right? It's like, and that's the beautiful thing about this show is that sometimes I come in not feeling right, but I finish the show and I feel it's like therapy.
Yeah.
In a sense, and this is another reason I love Asian culture because it's all about meditation. I've been on this meditation journey for about 2 years now, and there's something about going within that just makes you so much brighter and lighter and free. And so, and this show definitely encourages that.
Well, I have to learn how to let go and surrender. Because, 6 years ago, I was really struggling when I did the show. I didn't know how to leave all the emotions on stage. I will bring it home. So I was really having a hard time. My first year in Hamilton, I was struggling. And then I started enjoying it during my second year. And now that I've done the show, I can finally enjoy it in front of you guys. Now that, and also I have a family now. Like I can, I can be with my family during my breaks, and it's not just the show. The show is not our world. We have a life as well, and which is amazing. And a lot of us have families, and the families are here in the Philippines. So I think that's therapy for me, being with a family.
Thank you so much and congratulations.
I'm not going to think about that. Like, I mean, Lin is iconic in the role and is basically the standard at which I think most people set the bar for the role, which is a huge feat to attain. After a while, I stopped thinking about it like that. Started thinking about how do I make my own shoes, and fill those, which is the way that I kind of go about it now. Because I mean, I've seen other Hamiltons as well, and it's so different. The show's the same. The blueprint's the same. The words are the same. The music's the same. It can change vastly depending on who's playing that role, though. I don't know. I mean, I've never done the show with Lin, but I mean, I know some people have.
But Jason is I don't want to say this on camera, but Jason's a beast.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and he's definitely made his own shoes, and I think that's what Lin. I think that was his intention, is to create something that we can all step into and create our own thing. I don't think his intention was ever to be, this is how you play Hamilton. But having played Hamilton, we went to Puerto Rico with Lin. I got to die in his arms as his son, which was really, really awesome. Don't have to play the general.
I think I did in Washington with Lin playing Hamilton. And that was scary. But
He's so kind.
But he's so generous. He's very, very generous as an artist, as a visionary, and so playing opposite of Dre or Jason, when these two gentlemen playing Hamilton, it really is quite spectacular. And Jason, I have to say, what a gift! What a gift! Because so much of what we do is organic, and so you really rely on your scene partner. And so this man, every single night, every single rehearsal brings not just his heart, but he puts his soul into it. And that makes it easy for me to bring my heart and soul into the space as well. So to say that he's got some big shoes to fill, this man he's built his own damn shoes. And they are ginormous. And I think he's making Lin and everyone else proud for it.
Thank you very much.
I just want to add as well. Before coming to Manila, like 2 weeks ago, is that right? 2 weeks ago, I don't know Jason, I don't know everyone else, because they all rehearsed in New York and I was in London. So when I came here, I was kind of like nervous because we really didn't have any relationship, right? But on stage, it just happened. There's chemistry, and I think being authentic and just telling the story, that's how I felt. He's amazing.
Yeah, there was a lot of trust because I was stressing out. To tell people, Rachel Lane goes in the show, and they're like, wow. I was immediately like going, okay, well, we'll have rehearsals in New York, and then I found out that wasn't going to be the case. But we only had tech week really to sort of get that together. But there was a lot of trust. And I think we knew like we had a job to do as well, and that's what keeps you going. And you know, having great scene partners across the board helps that. You really need to have open and honest people on stage. Like if you're not feeling 100% that day, that's fine. Show it. And I don't think anyone's afraid to go there if they have to, because it's the most authentic way to put it across. But I think this went way off the topic. I'm so sorry. I completely drove this in a different direction. But thank you so much.
And unfortunately, I can only ask one. So, Ms. Rachel, I just want to ask, can you share a specific moment or scene in the show that deeply resonated with you and kind of influenced the way you approach your own character on stage?
Well, you know, the first time I did the show, this was like 6 years ago in London, and I believe I was totally a different person back then. Now I am a mom of 2. If you asked me this question before, my answer now is so different. My favorite moment right now is not really favorite, but like the scene that really gets me the most is Philip's death. That one is, I don't know, it's just, right now thinking about it gets me really emotional because, oh, now I don't need to dig deeper before I approach the scene. I can be in that moment and feel all the feels, all the emotion, because I know now how to be a mom. I know what a mom feels like. So I guess also the priorities in life as well. Before, if I was just thinking about, oh, I need to sing the song perfectly, I need to hit the right notes. Now it's not about that. It's about telling the story. It's about sharing what this musical is about. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a good time. Thank you.
Broadway World. I would like actually to know, I have to address the question just to one. Rachel, amongst the group, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the ones who directly work with Lin when you put in the show in the West End. Question, did you ever mention how is Hamilton different from history to the musical character? If not, what stopped you working with Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Okay. He was actually there during my final audition, but he wasn't there during the whole rehearsal process. Yeah, the first time I met him, I was really starstruck. That's Lin-Manuel Miranda. But he never really talked about the show. He was just there listening and enjoying the music. And he was there during the 6th row. And he was just like, throwing bottles and saying, "You guys are so amazing." That's the memorable moment I had with him. But yeah, he never really. Oh, he actually showed me some of the music that was supposed to be part of the show. He played it. I don't know if he did that. He played some music for me, and he was like, "This song is supposed to be part of the show, but unfortunately, we have to cut the show. Like, you have to put everything in a 3-hour show, right?" But I remembered him playing this song called First Burn, which eventually was released, and I was, thank God, part of that music as well. But he just showed me loads of music that he wanted to put in the show, and which is extraordinary because, as we all know, Hamilton music is already like amazing, but there's more. There's more to it, and that he's actually hiding in his cabinet. But yeah, I remembered him playing that song First Burn, and yeah.
I suppose the song was written for Liza.
Yes. That, yeah, and he unfortunately he had to cut that music into like 3-minute song, but yeah. I can sing First Burn for you. I'm kidding.
It's on Spotify.
It is.
Thank you.
For those who have a negative opinion about the artistic direction of the show, I would really encourage them to come see it, to come see the show, and ask questions, because it's too easy, I think, to sit back and fold your arms and say no. I think it takes a great deal of courage to step out of your comfort zone and to have a conversation like we're all having today. And so, so that would be my response to your question, and also in following up with an invitation, to my brothers and sisters all across the spectrum, to let's break bread together. It's a lot easier to have a conversation when you're sharing wine or when you're sharing food than it is to sit across the political aisle and fold your arms. So hopefully that makes some kind of sense.
I'll add a little bit to that, because I think we've actually met people who have been resistant to it, right? Like, remember there's this one lady, she came on, she said, Thomas Jefferson wasn't black. And I was like, well, that's the whole point of the show, right? It's like, you have no control who lives, who dies, and who tells your story. So you should do right by everyone, because when you're gone, and I think you really know a person when they're not in the room, right? Like, the things you say when they're there, it's like, oh, he's amazing because he's sitting right there. But when they leave, that's, I think, when the truth comes out. And I've always been moved by the idea that theater is entertainment, but it's also education. And we, in America, we had this moment where we do eduhams, and kids will come and see the shows. And I think it's just this idea of giving people hope that we can all do this. We're all intelligent enough, all talented enough. And the word challenge always sticks out to me, because if you take the L-L-E out of challenge, you get change. And if you're not challenging anyone, you're never going to change. And so I think that's what this show does. It challenges us to see us in a different light, and to also include the heart and not just the external diversity, which I love you said that. Yeah.
I just wanted to add to that real quickly. It's it is that thing of just being able to share conversations, as Dana was saying. We have to question ourselves. I mean, I remember you sharing to me, I hope you don't mind, the challenge it was for you to accept this role, and what that meant for you to be courageous enough to take that, to then go, okay, how can I change the perspective of this? And so we have to ask ourselves these questions and have these conversations, which means that we get to have them like this. And that's beautiful. We're now in a privileged space to be able to have these conversations out loud and walk out alive. And that is a beautiful thing, and I thank Hamilton for that, for starting that in a way which I can be a part of that, which is one of my gifts, is to be able to storytell on stage. So that's a beautiful question, and thank you for asking that, because we do need to go there, and we might as well start here.
Yeah, and I agree, and I've been very fortunate to spend some time at Mount Vernon, and just outside of Washington, D.C., and to sit down with some of the historians, and we wrestle with this idea of George Washington, the legacy of George Washington, with the enslaved community there at Mount Vernon, and actually we're already planning a follow-up trip with them to sit down and talk about these issues, and they are very enthusiastic. I know Christopher Jackson has spent some time there as well, and so I'm kind of like the only other Washington that spent time there to really engage in these sometimes uncomfortable and difficult conversations. But I think just to kind of bring it back is it's an ongoing conversation, and I think that's the beauty. The table is large enough, the table is big enough for all of us to have a seat at the table. And this isn't about erasing history or trying to change history, but rather this is about making history and celebrating history for what it is, and also acknowledging the good, the bad, and the in-between as well.
Okay, guys, so we can comment.
And I think there's when you're a genius, no one cares what you look like. If you have something that's going to benefit us all, then let's go.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great run.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm here. Hello. First question. Darnell touched upon this earlier. One of the reasons why Hamilton is so popular is because of its hip hop and rap aspects. And here in the Philippines, hip hop and rap is a growing genre in Filipino music. And how will Hamilton find? Do you think Hamilton will be able to grow inspire and attract more audiences because of this? Because as Rachel said, theater fans in the Philippines are very polite and enthusiastic, but with Hamilton, that audience might grow. So, in your perspective, how will Hamilton attract even more Filipino audiences, given the genre it is?
I'd love to start us off. I think you touched that really beautifully. It was the fact that hip hop and rap are growing is already a beautiful insight to how that will keep continuing to inspire people to come along and watch. The other thing about it is that it is multi-genre. So along with hip hop and rap, we've got contemporary musical theatre. So what I love about this show is that it's a show for people who love theatre, and it's also a show for people who hate theatre. And they're like, I hate musical theatre. And so their wives bring them along and they leave more inspired than their wives that have dragged them along. So that's what I think about the show. The word universal is, it encapsulates all of that in terms of human spirit, human flaws, but also who it inspires. So those who don't like music theatre end up coming along and loving it because it's a beautiful mix. It's again, it's superstar. The show itself is the star. So I think because it's multi-genred and multifaceted, it only has the potential to inspire people to come along and be inspired to do something.
Yeah, to touch on that, like Daniel said, I mean, Filipinos love music from what I can tell, and there's a lot of music in the show, a lot of music.
And good music.
And good music, really good music. So I mean,
Culture nurtures. Well, I just like to have a follow-up question for Rachel. Considering that this is, I believe, the first time to perform in an American musical for the Filipino audience, how are the first reviews with a live Filipino audience? What's the difference compared to doing this in London?
In London and in New York. You know, Filipinos are very polite. I heard some people, are they enjoying it? And I have to explain to them, Filipinos are very polite. They have to wait until the end of the number to give applause, which is amazing. But I was watching everyone, are they sleeping? But they're into it. They're like absorbing every single word, every single scene. So just to see their faces in awe, it just makes my heart jump. As a Filipino, I'm like, oh, like seeing my kababayans enjoying and having fun. It's amazing, and yeah, I guess that's a difference, like performing in front of abroad as well. Just being home itself, it's such a gift.
you can be louder if you want to. Just, that's permission there if you want to.
No, I think the theater scene here in the Philippines, there's this notion of when it's theater, medyo quiet the audience, right? Everyone agrees. So but concerts, if it's a concert scene, then I guess you're allowed to be loud. But yes, guys, it's hip hop and it's rap, so you can sing. Well, not too loud, but you can jam with us.
It's a concert / musical, so if you like hypothetical, I think this is
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you for making us proud. So for my second question, this goes for, anyone could answer this one. Considering that this is the first time that this groundbreaking musical is making its way to Asia, how do you think does this material be relevant and significant in the Asian context?
Well, I thought the same thing when they announced the show was coming to Australia. I actually didn't know how the show would go anywhere but America. when I was like, yeah, cool, all right, great. Americans are very patriotic, so I was like, that will work in America. How's it going to work anywhere else? And what we found doing it in Australia was that it didn't matter because the politics of it is just a vehicle for very human stories. That's the main focus. And the more and more I do it, the more I realize, like, yeah, the politics have very little to do with it. I found myself like going, okay, how does the American treasury actually work? Like trying to figure it out. Like, and it didn't actually matter. What mattered was the human connection. All that stuff is just a vehicle for it. So again, the universal reach that the show has is because it's not about America singularly. Like, it's got to do with people generally. Yeah. So I mean, if anyone wants to add on, you're welcome.
I mean, I think there's also, considering that, we are all benefactors of Western democracy, I think there is a transcendency, I don't know if that's a word, but it is today, where, this story, you can take it and you can perform it in front of an American audience, but then you can also bring it here to Manila. I had the opportunity to perform the show in Canada. And it's all the same in that we are able to connect and appreciate the importance that, or not the importance, but the mere fact that representation matters. And that's on every spectrum possible. And I think this show touches on that, but there's also the humanity of it all too, where in the beginning, a whole bunch of people got sick and tired of being sick and tired, so they decided to do something about it. And I think we can all relate to that in varying degrees and levels, and so I think in that way, it's also relevant here in the Philippines.
Push ABS-CBN. So my question is, I want you to answer, in what ways can the story of Hamilton inspire Filipino viewers?
I'll start with this one because I feel like I can give a brief one and not y'all do the heavy stuff. I just looked up what intramurals means, and it's within walls. And we talk about legacy a lot, and my character, Aaron Burr, is sort of taxed with this responsibility to uphold his family's legacy. And we look at legacy as, if you get it right, it's a great thing, but what legacy can do to you, it can sort of keep you within these walls to not make, and me and Darnell had this conversation of this idea of not feeling like you have multiple opportunities or chances to get it right. So you wait for the one opportunity, and the one chance Bird gets, he messes up, right? And that's what we learn about him. That becomes his story. So I think from now on, from today on, I'm not going to really relate to the story of Hamilton, but more so about what it means to overcome this cage, or this mentality that we cannot be greater than what we can see. I think it's all about what is invisible, the imagination, where imagination meets desire. And I think the more we sort of visualize what can be, the more it becomes tangible in that way. So I think we all have something that we want in life, whether it be just to build our family within our homes, or to have a great career, or to just be at peace. And I think that comes with a sacrifice. And I think that's what all these characters had to do, is sacrifice something in themselves to have something greater in themselves.
Well, and also, Drake, just to piggyback on that too, I think if you have a firm foundation, I think you can tear down the walls. And so I want to hope and believe that maybe we will inspire our youth in particular, to tear down the walls, expand the walls. And so that's something that I really hope that they can walk away from and say, you know what, I'm not going to wait until I'm 25, until I'm 30. I'm going to get active right now in local government and in my student body government at school. And so I think Hamilton, it's part of the DNA of this show, of tearing down walls, but also making sure that we have a firm foundation to stand upon. And I think we owe it to ourselves, but also to our future generations, what do you say? Yeah.
When Jason spoke about legacy, I always feel like Hamilton took every opportunity to do something, and I feel like being part of the show, that's one of
the messages that I want to share to everyone is like we are like a speck of the dust in this crazy world, and why not make a mark? You know, leave something. Ask yourself, what is your calling? What is your purpose in life? And that's what we want to partake to. Like a lot of people at the end of the show, we want people to come out of the theater and say, what am I going to do in this world? What is my purpose in life?
I think with this show, it doesn't matter where we go. So being relevant to people of the Philippines, the common thread is that as flawed humans, we can still do something to just kind of tie this all up. And I think the beauty of Hamilton is it's so universal. It is about the human spirit, it's about the human flaws, it's about coming from messy places, as we were saying before, and being able to still do something with that. So in terms of it being relevant here, it's relevant everywhere because of that. Not to mention the music. I feel like, you know, we all understand and feel where hip hop, R&B, and contemporary comes from, deep within our souls. So for Hamilton being here in the Philippines, I think the fact that we are a people of flaws and spirit and desires is why it's always going to be relevant everywhere we go.
Yeah, that's why I waited for everyone else to speak, because I have no idea how to answer that. Then that helps, thank you. that helps. Yeah, I think it's definitely about witnessing the show and understanding that, yeah, when no one is perfect. And because you see in the show, you see the best of humanity and you see the absolute worst of it. In both times, that is Hamilton's fault. Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it. Even people who have done great things have also done bad things, and people who have done bad things have done great things. And that is part of the human experience. So yeah, universally, it's an international show, and that's why the show is going internationally.
Yeah, I just want to add to that because it's about seeing yourself up on the stage, right? Regardless of skin and regardless of external diversity, seeing yourself in a human existence, because each human is more than 3D, you see aspects of yourself, whether that's the sassiness, the vulnerability, the arrogant at times, the upset, but the very ambitious self. So outside of the external diversity, within the humans is a variety of humanness that each and every one of us could find ourselves, an aspect of ourselves within each of these characters, which I think is its superpower.
But can we talk about the fact that y'all some singing folks here in the Philippines? Wow! The music culture here is extraordinary. And that inspires me. So whenever my wife and I, when we are walking and taking in the sights and sounds of Manila, I'm just struck by the culture here, the music. I mean, someone was singing the other day at Ayala Mall, and I just stopped and I was like, well, sing the Dad Dog song. You know, it was just so good. So that's also really exciting. I think the fact that the show is very musical and there's such a rich musical history here and heritage here that I think will certainly jive quite well with this show.
Thank you so much.